the race for the United States Senate. We have an incumbent, Bill Nelson, Democrat, been there for a while, and I think people would say he's probably the favorite in many respects as an incumbent. He's going to be facing off against probably either Congressman Connie Mack or former U.S. Senator George Lemieux. Handicap that race for us. How do you see it?
Don't you mean he may pair off against the Charlie Sheen of Florida? Is that,
or someone who is amoral? I mean, I know the Republicans are throwing bombs at each other.
When I said earlier that you choose somebody based on whether you want to have a beer with them, I think that may be taken. You know, it's interesting, Steve. I think this race is very much like the national race. You have the Republicans fighting it off, and when we're talking about the Charlie Sheen, that was Senator Lemieux's comments about Connie Mack, and I believe that race is really going to get nastier and more negative as we go on. Nelson, on the other hand, what is he doing? Well, two things. He's sitting back letting them fight and letting them get the press, raising money, which is very important in the state where you have 10 media markets. But he's also, again, on the issues. I saw recently where he was working in Congress to work on NASA and the jobs and what our direction is for space, but also in keeping our jobs with NASA. So he's getting press on issues that Floridians care about, raising money and waiting on the eventual nominee.
But a lot of these races, not just in Florida but around the nation, in terms of Senate races or races for the U.S. Congress, are really driven by the presidential and a presidential year. The messaging will flow from the presidential candidates, and you'll see that impact these races. In answer to what Bill Nelson is doing, he's doing nothing. I mean, he's done nothing as a U.S. Senator. Name something great that Bill Nelson has done for Florida. I mean, this is the debate over Bill Nelson. I mean, he has occupied a seat. He is sitting back and waiting, as Screven has said, for our nominee. So I feel very good about this race in the context of the presidential, and I think whether it's Connie Mack, who certainly has the name ID and the resources available to be a strong general election candidate, or it's George Lemieux who occupied the seat, we're in a good position in that race.
Justin, last word, just a few seconds.
Yep, I would agree completely that the U.S. Senate race in Florida will be mostly determined by what happens in the presidential race and the state of Florida's economy.